Welcome back to the Red Dirt Road podcast. I'm your host, Marshall Farnsworth, here with Alex Breitenbach. How's it going?
Going good. Just about to starting the last week before the semester ends. So this is the week right here. This is where it all comes down to. Got a whole bunch of work this week. Other than that, still chugging along.
This is as you guys know, we've mentioned that we record these a little bit in advance, but when this comes out, this will be our last episode of the year. So how about that? That's pretty big, because we started this podcast this year, and this is the 2020 wrapped.
The last episode of 2020. Who would have thought, man? Dang, that's an accomplishment. I gotta say, we made it through 2020 here on the Red Dirt Road podcast, and y'all have been here with us. Incredibly grateful and really honored to make it through 2020, and then we'll be in an entire new year, a new 2021.
A whole new big year. I mean, we just passed 1.5 thousand views recently, so that's pretty cool. Up and up from that. We are going to get into our Spotify 2020 Wrapped, which is something pretty cool. Before we do that, we're going to a couple things to note. So a guy, Charley Pride, country music artist, a bit of a pioneer years and years ago, just passed away from COVID-19 actually just a few days ago. So we will have to do a podcast episode on one of his songs coming up. That's going to be, early 2020. We'll have to do that, but definitely want to mention it. I've been listening to him a little bit actually recently. Not a guy as most older country artists. I don't know all of them, but any comments, Charley Pride?
Honestly, I mean, yeah, it's a real shame. It's a real shame that he's gone. He was a trailblazer, and regardless of whether you like his music or not, we can all agree that he was a trailblazer in the country music community. I happen to really like "Kiss an Angel, Good Morning." That was his whole his number one hit there, the pinnacle of his career right there. And that was a good song. I tend to think of him as the Darius Rucker of the 1980s I should probably be comparing Darius Rucker to Charley Pride, honestly, because Darius Rucker pulls a lot of influence from Charley Pride, and actually one of the coolest things that I saw, and it's a shame because it came out this year, I believe, was a collab track between Jimmy Allen, the new guy. Jimmy Allen just started his country music career, and then Darius Rucker and Charley Pride all singing together, and it's three African American, country music artists of color on the same track, and it really does show a lot for how diverse country music has become, to show that it's not really one-sided. I tend to think, and I do mean it when I say it. Like, country music is a lifestyle. It is for everybody. It's not. And I think Charley Pride definitely proved that, and he will definitely be missed. And we got, the only way we can honor him at this point, just listen to his music. Honor the years we had with him.
Yep, I'm not a fan of Jimmy Allen. I will have to listen to a little bit more. Don't like his stuff recently. It's very pop.
Yeah,
country.
Jimmy Allen is an acquired taste. He's not like Darius Rucker, honestly. I had high hopes for him. He has a more of an electronic sound, so more like pop country, kind of more geared toward pop radio stations. Now, again, his song "Best Shot," I think is a pretty good song, but then again, it's not it like to me it doesn't necessarily fit the country vibe, but it also like kudos to him because it's a good song. I like in my opinion.
All right. Charley Pride, rest in peace. If anything, it gives us a chance to listen to all his music. A lot of country artists we've lost this year. Kind of a good
Joe
time to
Diffie, we
mention
lost
that. You
Joe,
know,
yeah, Joe Diffie.
Kenny Rogers, who we did a song on, Charlie Daniels, Joe Diffie will have to do a song on coming up at the beginning of next year. Now Charley Pride, Eddie Van
And it like
Halen, not a country artist,
yeah.
but huge rock star, lost him as well. So don't know if I meant forgetting any other big names in the
Yeah.
music industry.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say like I think didn't we lose like two out of those three country artists that we reviewed to COVID by itself? We
Joe
lost Joe
Diffie
Diffie
and Charlie Pride, I believe,
and we
were the
lost Charlie
two.
Pride. Yeah. We lost Charlie Pride. I don't know if Kenny Rogers died from COVID or not.
So we are going to little Brooks and Dunn news right here. Not going to do a full review on it, but it was, I thought, notable. Posted on the Brooks and Dunn YouTube page last month in November, and it's titled "Kix Brooks and Friends cover Stuck in the Middle with You," the Steelers Wheel song from I believe the '70s. And I took a listen. I think I saw it maybe once and was a little bit hesitant. I thought, got some. I'll listen to it at some point. Second time I listened to it, I was actually pretty impressed. Ronnie Dunn is not in it. You got Kix Brooks and friends, obviously, some other people. I thought it was very good. It was a very good cover. Kix Brooks's voice actually, I thought, went very well with it. It would be a song if they officially released it. I would listen to it probably just as much as the original. I think it goes well with just being Kix. I don't know how Ronnie's voice would have done in it, but Kix Brooks' voice did very well. I liked it.
Honestly, I mean I will say this about the song. I stuck in the middle. The original version of the song I hate it. It's not a good song. And I know my Uncle Craig would vehemently disagree with me over that because
KK.
it's a classic. Yeah, shout out to KK Farnsworth. Um, honestly, yeah, I don't like the song, but I think that hearing it through a different voice, hearing it through Kix Brooks's voice, and hearing it like in more of a different style of music, um, that made it sound really good and a lot better than the original song. Because personally, I just wouldn't listen to the original song because I got bored of it. This song, I actually um, wanted to like go and listen to it multiple times because I felt like oh well, it has a little bit more meaning to it. I think Kix Brooks really brings it to life, and I think it was long overdue to do a cover of this song and revitalize it. I would honestly, if Kix Brooks released this on an album or just as a single, something to like be ducking around with. I mean, this is definitely something that I would be listening to.
Yeah, yeah. I can agree with that. I disagree. I think the original. Now, it's not a song I listen to all the time, but I think the original is pretty good. But I do like this one. Probably it's more interesting. It gives some country elements into it every now and then. Um, just a lot more fun to listen to. Not as repetitive and boring, like you said. I also noticed the um, the Cheryl Crow song it brings in at the end. The All I Want to Do. That was kind of interesting. I mean, you got Kix Brooks covering the song, then all of a sudden you got the Cheryl Crow lyrics in there. That's something. That's not something you hear every day.
Yeah,
Cheryl Crow.
definitely unorthodox and not something you see. No, but I think that was, I think to me that sounded a little out of place, but like, I don't know.
All right. Well, enough on that. Um, yeah. So Spotify 2020 wrap. This is going to be a little bit. I mean, obviously, we already have been recording for a few minutes here. This is clearly going to be one of our longer episodes, one of our 20-minute range ones. Hopefully, not get into the 30-minute range, but I already know it's going to be a longer one. That's okay. Last episode of the year. We're just going to kind of go through all of our Spotify 2020 wrapped. All right. So we are going to completely go through, like I'm explaining this to someone. So we go on here. All right. Does a little, mine actually has a Morgan Wallen song plays. I'm going to have this on mute, but has a little song playing and it says, the longest year ever might not be here yet or over yet or whatever. Then it goes and it's got what's this? Okay, the artists that we've discovered in 2020. Now, I have been listening to a ton of playlists this year, so this number for me is massive. Let's hear yours first.
Okay, so this year, mine says let's start you off with a win, and it says 453 new artists this year.
Do you know how many I have new?
How many?
4,045.
Oh my God. Oh, okay. Well, you definitely been doing some crate digging.
That's
All
how
right.
many. That's how many new artists I've listened to, and you only had 400. So I had 4,000. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been listening to. I really don't have a huge range of music that I enjoy. You know, it's mostly country, rock, and then some rap and hip hop. But I've been listening to a lot of country, old and new, same with rock, and then, some newer rap and hip hop. So I listen to playlists all the time. See, next thing, let's see here. All right, genres. Okay. It says that I listened to 780 genres this year, including 500 new ones.
Okay. Wow. Well, uh, you're doing the whole crate digging thing a lot better than me. All right. So I'm going to, shows up with genre lust, and it says, you listen to 461 genres this year, including 119 new ones. Now that's crazy. I ain't got nothing on you here. And
Was that
then
400 genres? That's pretty good. That
491 genres this year, including 119 new ones.
All right. So your genres weren't as far off as the artists. So it seems like you still listen to a variety of genres,
Oh
but
yeah,
the
no. I have
artists
plenty. I have plenty of playlists that
but the
are,
artists are the same.
yeah, sorta.
All right,
Uh,
top genres. Mine was a little bit surprising. It's actually rap, and I think I know why. And then rock, contemporary country, pop, and then number five, lo-fi beats. How about that? Lo-fi
Lo-fi beats.
beats.
That's your studying stuff or your
That's
work.
yeah.
Right.
I listen to that when I am
Yep.
working or sometimes just going to sleep. How about you?
All right. So my top genres. Number one is country. No surprise there. So that's definitely my top one. Number two is rock. Number three is pop. And number four, I was a little surprised by, but number four is classical organ music. Now, let me
Oh
explain
my
that.
goodness.
The reason that is there is because when I was,
That was four or five.
that was four.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
so when I number four, and the reason why this is there is because when I would study, I'd listen to like classical. I'd listen to Bach and organ music by like Johann Sebastian Bach and all those.
We had the same vibe right there. I had the lo-fi beats.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
the
yeah. The the,
studying
the, the
music.
chill sort of like study and stuff. And then number five is alternative metal. I'm not surprised by that really. I listen to a lot of the Goo Goo Dolls and then and like Blues Traveler and all that stuff. Um
All right, cool. So this next one is our top song of the year. So this is mine is a country song. It's Heartache Medication by John Party. So it let me see if I can. What do you got for yours?
All right. So mine, and I'm not really surprised by this. Um, this is a Waylon Jennings song. So my top song was by Waylon Jennings, and it's "Good Old Boys," which is the theme, for those of you who don't know, from the Dukes of Hazzard. Uh, it's one of my absolute favorite songs. It's just
Oh,
and I let me see the story of your 2020 theme from Dukes of Hazzard. Okay, so I first streamed it on January 1st. The day with the most streams of this song was my birthday, May 30th. Okay, let's see, it's loading a little bit here. My 10th stream of this song was May 16th, and in total, um, it says I streamed it. Most total streams in a day is 20. So I played it 20 times in a day.
20 times in a day, or is that 20 times total?
Or it says total streams. I'm not sure if that means like in total.
I think that's total, like
Oh, that's
whole
aggregate.
year.
Aggregate. Okay.
Mine is first stream January 14th, days with most streams June 20th. 50th stream is November 3rd, and it says I have 50 total streams. So I think they stopped collecting that data a little bit in advance because obviously I've kept listening to it since then. By the way, go follow our Red Dirt Road podcast playlist. I'm gonna put both of our top songs from this year in this playlist. So the John Party and the Waylon Jennings song. Top 5 songs. I got some variety in here for me. I've got some rap, some country, and some kind of pop rock, I guess you would say. Number 5, I got Nothing Inside by MGK, Machine Gun Kelly, feat. Ian Dior. Number 4, Rockstar, Da Baby, feat. Roddy Rich. Number 3, Buddy Valentine by MGK. Number 2, I know you like this song. This was one of your top songs of one of our things before. Caught Up in the Country, Rodney Atkins, and
Oh yeah, that's a
the
good
Fisk
song.
something. It kind of cuts off there, but
The
that
Fisk
actually
Jubilee Singers. Yeah.
I kind of accredit that to you a little bit. I knew the song before then, but I started listening to it even more and like it a lot. Started listening to some Rodney Atkins, like that song a lot, and then Heartache Medication, John Party. So it's
Oh
here
yeah,
your
that's
top 5.
definitely. That makes sense. Um, so in total, I'm just gonna go down here. It says my top genre was country. I went over that. In total, I listened to 27,002 minutes of music. Sorry, that includes music and podcasts. I spent about 6,800 minutes listening to podcasts. But anyway, so I'm just gonna go down top artists. My top artist this year, I was very surprised
No,
by.
this is it should be at the top songs, right?
Top songs. Okay, hold on. Let me go. Let's see. Is that? Okay, I'm just gonna go down my top songs. All right. Number 1, as I said, the theme from Dukes of Hazzard by Waylon Jennings. Number 2 is Jumper, and it's the 1998 edit by Third Eye Blind. That's a really good song. And then my third top song is Dust in the Wind by Kansas, but it's an acoustic version of it. It's an acoustic live version that I think sounds a hell of a lot better. And number 4 is Israel Kamawakioli's version of Over the Rainbow. He plays this sick ukulele cover of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And that,
Oh my goodness.
yeah, that was I know it's out there, right? And then number 5 was the acoustic version of God Bless the Broken Road by Rascal Flatts.
How is this your top five?
I, dude, I don't know.
That's a very specific thing. I've never heard the acoustic version of that song.
Oh, it's an awesome version of it. I mean,
Do they strip it down? It's much more traditional.
yeah. It's much more traditional. Doesn't have any drums or anything like that, and it's kind of just guitar really. And I mean, Gary LaVox's voice is unbelievable on that track. So
All right.
yeah, no, that was my top five.
Next part of this thing, hopefully yours kind of goes right, like in order, like mine. Next thing is podcasts. I typically actually don't listen to podcasts on Spotify anymore. I have this other app, Himalaya, I use, but there are a couple podcasts I listen to on here because for some reason these just load quicker with these ones, or they come in quicker. My top podcast is Peacock and Williamson NFL show. It used to be Locked on NFL, and then these two guys went over to the Peacock and Williamson. So I listen to that every day or 5 days a week. They have that. It says I listened to 49 episodes of that, 1,650 minutes. And they actually transferred over to this podcast right before the NFL season. So this is only really since like August. And then let's see here. I listened to a total of 1,982 minutes of podcasts. And top five. So the bottom two, I don't even know. I'm not even going to listen to something called Every Little Thing and Shots of Science Versus. Don't know what those are. I never really listened to them. Must have accidentally played. Number three is our podcast, Red Dirt Road Podcast. So there we go. Number two is Trailer Park Boys present Park After Dark. A little bit, Trailer Park Boys podcast. It's kind of fun to listen to every now and then. And then number one, Peacock Williamson, NFL. What do you got?
Okay. So in total, I spent 8,266 minutes listening to podcasts. So I've been a really heavy binge listener. And my top podcast, I'm not really surprised by. Number one, and this is this is bad, but I got number one is the Ben Shapiro Show from the Daily Wire. I've been listening to that, and now I have an addiction with that. I will openly admit that I'm trying to get off of it so badly because it's not good to hear too much of one side of a thing. And then number two is should be hold on, it faded away. Let me go back to it. Number two is a really cool podcast called Secret Societies, and it's kind of about cults and stuff, and they do a lot of investigative stuff and just more historical. And then number three is Stuff You Should Know. I've always loved Stuff You Should Know.
I've listened to that a little bit.
Yeah, they just have the weirdest factoids and stuff that I always listen to. Number four is the Global News Podcast from BBC. I often use that to get news in the car when I'm driving somewhere. And number five is the Diesel Performance Podcast with Paul Wilson and Chris Emke. That's definitely one of my top favorite podcasts to listen to. Diesel Performance right there. They do a whole bunch of cool stuff. And that's my podcast for you.
All right. So two other podcast notes. It says my top genre, not surprising here, is sports, comedy, and TV and film. And then it says that for binged podcasts, I listen to the Peacock and Williamson 3 times in a day. Wow.
Okay. Yeah, I spent my biggest binge was this. My biggest binge listen was this podcast called Serial Killers. It's by the same So it's by the same podcast company that does Secret Societies. And I listened to 6 episodes in one day, and I know the reason why I did this. This was on the way to Ohio. When I was coming to Ohio over the summer, I had like nothing but time just to listen to these podcasts because I had my sister and her friends in the back, and they were sleeping, so I was driving the truck out, and yeah, that was my most binged podcast. And my top genre for podcast is news and society and culture.
Much different
Apparently,
between you and I there.
yeah.
All right. So this is an interesting one. It's I think it will show up on yours, The Pioneer. So I think it's like a
Oh,
song
yeah,
that
it
you
does.
listen to that is way before it becomes popular. So this one is a song. It was my most popular song for a while there, early 2020. It's called Lil Hank. Lil Hank. I says I listened to it before it hit 50,000 streams. It is by a guy named Casey Battle. It's a country rap song. So I would check it out.
Okay.
If well, it's got an infectious beat. Obviously, country rap is not for everyone, but I just infectious beat, just love it. So check out that Lil Hank.
All right. Yeah, I will check that out. My Pioneer says you listen to "You Can Leave," the song "You Can Leave" before it hit 50,000 streams. I not quite sure what that is, but I think um it's a rap song by a guy named Bryson Gray, who's this he's a conservative social media influencer. He's a person of color, um, conservative social media influencer, and he does a lot of rap music. Now he had just released this album. Personally, I didn't like it, but I thought it was a meme because honestly, like the guy is just a meme. He's and he's always so I listened to that because he was advertising on his profile, and so apparently that's what I get from my um,
Very
Pioneer.
inspirational. All right. So the next thing here is pretty interesting. It's the top decade, and I thought mine might be like really, really old because there's some like 1950s, 1940s country music playlists I've been listening to because I've been starting like real, real old and then kind of working my way up to try to, just get the history of country music. It was actually 1990s was my top decade of music compared to other people, I guess. And my top song from that decade, not surprisingly, Dust on the Bottle by David Lee Murphy, one of my favorite songs really in general. I think it's a great song, combines, you know, being a kid, meeting a girl, it's alcohol for the first time, all those kind of things. But what do you got for yours?
Yeah, I love Dust on the Bottle. That's a great song. My top decade was 2000s. I'm surprised by that because I've been listening to a lot of classic country and a lot of other stuff. I'm very surprised by this. Um, but my top song from this time, and again, I'm even more surprised by this, is my top song from this time was the Over the Rainbow cover by Israel Kamalakioli. I don't know how that became my top song from the decade, but I mean, there's some things that I just can't explain.
What is with you in that song?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's a good song, but like I would have figured it was something else.
So
Like
walk us through, walk the listeners through. What are you listening to that song? Is it at any time of the day or just
no, it's
you need a
before I
pick
go to
me up?
sleep or when I'm or like before I go to sleep or when I'm feeling sad, it's a heartwarming song and the man's got a voice of an angel. Uh and it really is definitely a good song. And I highly recommend you listen to it. Um because it's pretty fire. But
All right.
other than that, I mean, I don't know, like it's just I can't really explain it. I just can't.
All right. On to what I think is maybe the most important, maybe not the most important, but one of the things I look at the most is the artists, top artists that you listen to. And so before we get into the top five, my top artist, how fitting for this show, Brooks and Dunn. How about that? Brooks and Dunn,
Oh,
top
bro, that's
artists.
awesome.
I listened to them a lot this year, just for the show and listening to all their music completely through it, and other times just because I liked it. It says I'm in the top 0.5% of their listeners. It says I listened to them for 1,507 minutes, and my top song streamed by them is "Brand New Man" with Luke Combs. Not too surprising. Like that song a lot. What do you
Yeah,
got?
that's crazy. I mean, Luke Combs. I wish mine was more like yours. I am really shocked by my top artist, and I think you're going to be shocked too. Uh, I think ultimately, I'm just going to go from the top down. My top artist, again, really shocked by this, is the organist Marie Claire Alain, which is
The
uh, she is she apparently all of the classical organ music I've been listening to is off of like one or two albums recorded by this artist apparently. So um and so like all the Bach music I was listening to came from her. So that would be and I spent a lot of time studying this semester. So like, I can sort of understand that, but still it's an outlier. I have no idea why it's there. Um Number two is Upchurch the Redneck. I love Upchurch. He's one of my favorite country rap artists, and still I always get so hyped when he releases new albums because Upchurch is honestly the greatest in country rap and is definitely a contender in modern contemporary country music because he does do country music as well and not just country rap. Um, but I think Upchurch, that's fitting. My third is Johnny Cash. Listening to a lot of Cash this year. I distinctly remember that. It doesn't say my top songs by them, unfortunately. I wish it did. But no, Johnny Cash. And number four is the Zach Brown Band. Absolutely love the Zach Brown Band. Been a fan of Zach Brown since as long as I can remember. My dad first exposed me to Zach Brown. I've been to I think two concerts, the Zach Brown Band, and then number five is the Beatles. Listening to a lot of the Beatles as well. Uh, I'm really sad that Brooks and Dunn didn't make the top five. I know they're probably in the top 10 because I've been listening to a lot of Brooks and Dunn just solely for this podcast and just in my leisure time as well. Uh, I would say that my top song, if it was on here by Brooks and Dunn, um, would have been Little Miss Honky Tonk because I've been listening to that quite
great song.
frequently. Yeah.
So this is mine. It also gives real quick here that I've listened to a total. So I think before it was discovered artists. This one says a total of 4,832 artists. So that's actually kind of shocking that if you think about it, I listened to 4,832 artists this year, and there was 4,000 of them were new ones that I never listened to before. So, think about that. My entire, whatever it is, 5, 6 years I've had Spotify, I've listened to only 800 artists. I listened to 4,800 this year. That's insane.
That's crazy. I just I can't even like that. That's just an unfathomable amount of new artists.
This is my top five. It is mostly country, not shocking, a little bit surprising for one of these, I guess, but not too surprising once I thought about it. So number five, I don't think there's any overlap, by the way, which is interesting because Johnny Cash also. I listened to Johnny Cash more this year than any year combined. Any years combined for me. I've been really enjoying him. Number five, Hank Williams Jr. another guy I haven't listened to much until this year, but really dug in, listened to him a lot. Really, really like him.
A lot of Bocephus.
He's quickly grown up into one of my top country artists I like.
Yeah.
Number 4, Luke Combs. Now, I was a
Combs.
little
Okay.
bit
Yeah, no surprise
surprised.
there.
I was just a little bit surprised because I know I listened to him a lot last year, and he had the new album last year. But I thought about it. I think mostly that's coming from I play different playlists. We have a bonfire or whatever, and you'll do the radio or different playlists. Luke Combs always on there, so I'm always he always pops on here and there. Number 3, this one is the only one that's really surprising, or it was until I realized why. Kenny Chesney, number 3.
Kenny Chesney. Okay.
And here is why. So what I've started doing a lot this year is listen to the This Is uh, Spotify playlist. So you got This Is Brooks and Dunn, Kenny Chesney. They have one for like every artist. It's like 3 hours of their bigger hits. And so I listened to that for Kenny Chesney, and then I also listened to his album that came out this year. Was not a big fan of that at all, but I did listen to it, so that
Oh,
counts.
he has. I forgot. He has. Kenny Chesney has been some of the one of the most prolific country artists that I've ever seen. Honestly, like the amount of stuff that he writes. I liked his previous album, the what's it and he has like usually one good song, one or two good songs every from every album that he releases. Like I don't know. I liked Here and Now. That was a good song, but the rest of the album, I don't know. I haven't listened to it yet.
Yeah, I listened to it. Not a huge fan of that album at all. In fact, I get what you're saying. That might be an album where I don't like any songs on it. But Kenny Chesney, though, a lot of people I've heard criticize him and say, "Oh, he ruined country. Oh, he's not even country." Kenny Chesney was like my favorite artist in middle school. Loved him, and I didn't listen to him for a while. I still think he's very good. He's his own animal. But I listened to him a lot this year. He's good. I mean, he's
Okay.
no just generic pop country artist. It's not like there's
Yeah,
a million Kenny Chesneys walking around.
I know. And I mean, there's one thing I have to say to those people who say that Kenny Chesney ruined country. Shut the hell up, honestly, because he did not. In no way did he ruin country music. I think he still makes it better. Like he has this aura, Kenny Chesney does, of just he has the same sort of style as both the Zac Brown Band and Jimmy Buffett. He's one of a few country artists that have actually played on this island escapology, like this island escape sort of vibe, where like you do country music and you do like sort of a mix with reggae and island music, and it sounds amazing. Like I
Yeah,
love Kenny
Zach
Chesney's
Brown
sound
band.
because yeah,
Zach
like
Brown band really kind of they were kind of they're like the newer Kenny
yeah,
Chesney. He was
yeah,
big and like
exactly.
he kind of started that in the 2000s, and then I think of Zach Brown band as like the 2010s
Yeah,
Kenny
because
Chesney.
this is the quintessential. I mean, Kenny Chesney is the quintessential figure of that sort of subdivision of country music. And honestly, I can't name that many artists that do it because they're not really that many. Because you can't exactly copy Kenny Chesney's style.
Yeah.
Now, then again, Kenny Chesney did not like a lot of his newer material is not stuff that he wrote. A lot of his songs on his newer albums are just stuff that people are paying him because they know it sounds like him. So he sings it and it does pretty well. I mean,
Well,
like,
he's not really known as a lyricist anyways. If you go back, his bigger hits, most of his hits are not songs he wrote. In fact, I think
no, not at all. Yeah.
the only one that he wrote, I Go
Um.
Back. That's the name of the song. The name of the
Oh.
song is I Go Back.
I go back. Yeah. That's a
That's
good
one of
song.
the few ones that he actually wrote. But anyways, off of
Yeah.
Kenny Chesney. I don't know why
Mm-hmm.
I've talked about it so long. Number 2 is the only non-country artist up here, Machine Gun Kelly.
Okay.
I was not a massive fan of him as a rapper. He had some good songs, but he came out. He recently started to get more and more into the less rap, more hip hop, pop, and then he came out with a new album that's like it's kind of like a little bit of hip hop and like pop punk, which I loved. I used to love listening to like Sum 41, Blink 182. I
Mhm.
absolutely love his album. So, yeah, no, not ashamed by that at all. And then Brooks and Dunn, number 1.
You know that I can understand that. Yeah.
So that is the Spotify 2020 wrapped.
And
Not
an
not
extra long
much.
episode just for y'all. That's crazy. Mm.
Yep. And then oh, I guess last thing on the last slide it shows total minutes. How many minutes you got? I got 65,407.
I had 29,062.
All right.
So you beat me there. I'm surprised.
By a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So that's it. That's going to be it for us today. We'll be back next time with something. Maybe some Charley Pride, maybe some Brooks and Dunn. But
we'll
we
see
will be
you.
back.
We'll definitely, yeah. We'll
And
definitely.
it'll be still 2020 here when we are recording our next episode. But for you guys, it will be not 2020. It'll be 2021.
In the
So
future. What's that
yeah.
line from? Like we're sending you back to the future. So we're going. Even though we will be recording it this year, you guys will see us next year.
In a different year. I don't know how will we do our. Should we celebrate? It won't be 2021 for us yet.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know. I tend to think, we just do something like we release a New Year's special maybe or something.
The New Year's special.
Depends on or like because this wraps up the year. Should do something like, but honestly,
we'll pop some champagne here on the Red Dirt Road.
Yeah. I don't have any champagne with me now, unfortunately.
All right, that's gonna be a wrap for the Red Dirt Road podcast today and this year. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah.
For Auld Lang Syne, my dear, for Auld Lang Syne. We'll take a cup of kindness yet for Auld Lang Syne.
Yep. On that, we will see you guys next year.
Yeah, next year.